Thank you for staying with us here on TWILA. We are at the Louisiana Emergency Management Conference, which is very important as we're only 2 weeks away from the beginning of hurricane season. Joining me now is Casey Tingle. He is the director of the Governor's Office of Emergency Preparedness and Homeland Security. I think I flipped that around. GOSEP is the official title there. But Casey, we are 2 weeks away from hurricane season. What do our farmers, our ranchers, and our rural residents need to keep in mind to get a game plan?
Yeah, I think it's very important, as we have some time here at the beginning of hurricane season to make those preparations and to get ready. As we've seen the last 2 years, some of those strong winds can go well inland, so this isn't just a coastal problem. And so having a plan to take care of the animals and wildlife, knowing if you have to evacuate, how you're going to take care of your animals along the way, and then the opportunities for farmers and others to partner with one another to take care of, with food and hay and things like that. We've seen a number of great examples over the years of how that community is really bonded together and help one another.
Yeah, the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation has its disaster response committee and also has a way of farmers being able to help farmers and connect to one another. What are some of the challenges that you guys face when it comes to dealing with rural areas? And because when disaster strikes, it doesn't really care whether you're urban or rural. It's going to strike where it's going to strike.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a good communication plan, have a way to stay weather aware and apprised of all of the latest from a weather perspective. Certainly we've seen broadband issues across large swaths of rural Louisiana, and so having multiple ways to communicate and staying in touch with loved ones who may be living in isolated areas and that sort of thing, staying in touch with loved ones is always an important part of the planning.
And we kind of stay in touch with our Farm Bureau family, but we're in touch right now with all of the emergency management family. This is the Louisiana Emergency Management Conference. What are you hearing from your counterparts across the state, and what are your concerns going into this hurricane season?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, everyone is so glad to be back together in a conference like this. It's been 2 years since we were able to do this, and over those past 2 years, a lot has happened to our state, from Hurricane Laura through Hurricane Ida, all in the midst of COVID. So being back together and being able to share experiences, and the community really helps each other as some parishes will deploy to other parishes to help them out. So that sense of camaraderie and teamwork is so important in all of this, because no one can do it by themselves. On the what are we thinking about perspective, certainly the projections are that this is likely to be an above active season, just as we've seen in previous years. But at the end of the day, it only takes one storm. And so that combined with the sense that our communities are more fragile because of what's happened the last 2 years. So all of that really requires an extra level of planning and preparedness and making sure that everyone is aware of their own risk and has a plan to take care of themselves for 72 hours to allow the governmental systems to kind of come back into place. And certainly if local officials were to call for an evacuation or something like that, we're encouraging everyone to listen to those officials.
Now that teamwork is really important, especially for the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. I've been in what we call the war room, where all the agencies are sitting there together. But how important is it to have that during a time of disaster?
Well, it's critical. It takes teamwork. It takes, rallying around that mission. And all of, on a state level, all of our different agencies, whether it's state police or DOTD, Department of Ag and Forestry, LDH, DCFS, they've all got such important roles to play. Our National Guard fills so many different gaps for us as a state. And it really takes that team approach. And GOSEP's job is really just to coordinate and keep all of the pieces moving and in touch with one another. And that helps to support our parishes and helps us to draw down federal resources when we need them as well.
Well, Casey, we appreciate you spending long nights there in the GOSEP office there in Baton Rouge. Casey Tingle, he is the director of the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. When we come back here on TWILA, a TWILA boost to brighten your day. Stay with us.